Welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Vibe Show. I'm your host, Winky Lumba, and today I have a very good friend of mine, Leka Devatha, with me. Leka is a real estate development broker based in Seattle, Washington. She is president of Rehabit Homes, Inc., a company focused on residential and commercial redevelopment. She has spearheaded hundreds of transactions, developing around 100 million in real estate. Leka brings 8 years of experience in construction management and redesign. She's also a co-author of the book, The Only Women in the Room. Wow, I would love to learn more about that, Leka. But first of all, welcome to my show. I'm super excited to have you with me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Vinky. You have been such a rock star real estate investor, and to see you, just thrive has been so fun to watch.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you. So I'm going to start with my favorite question that I ask everybody. At present, how do you see yourself professionally as well as at the personal level?
Professionally, I feel like I'm doing some crazy, awesome things. And honestly, what that does is I'm able to stand on a platform and talk about my successes and also my shortfalls. I think that's inspiring a lot of people who look at me, and I'm not your normal real estate investor. I am an immigrant. I do some crazy value add construction projects. So they look at me and they say, okay, if she can do it, then why not I? And I think just in being able to inspire people on a platform like that's what this is all about for me. I could just be in my own shell and make a lot more money, not being on social media, not being on podcasts, not being interviewed. But I feel like getting my name out there and, telling people my story, inspiring other people to do the same, follow my footsteps, if you will, I think is a good, to be able to inspire others is always more fun. And so the fact that I have that opportunity, I'm going to take it. Personally, I have two boys, and they're 9 and 5. And my goal in life is to get them financially more savvy. I think, inculcating a financial freedom into their brains. That's like the first step. The second is also inculcating a work ethic. Which you can only do by example. And so just showing them every day that I go to work and I work hard and I enjoy it is a blessing.
You said you're an immigrant. So I wanted to ask you, share with me your background. How did you start and how did you become who you are today?
Okay, so I grew up in India, in a city called Bangalore in the south. And I moved here in 2006 because I got married and my husband lived here. And so I moved here 15 years ago now. I was in fashion merchandising and strategy for Nordstrom Corporate, which is headquartered here in Seattle, for the first 7 years or so that I lived here. And I thoroughly enjoyed my job. It was, it was unlike any other job that I had held in India. And so it was just really fun and fascinating. And the reason I made the switch to real estate investing is because I've always believed in working for myself. I started my first company in India when I was 18 years old, and that was like a runaway success. And I was like, no, I need to do more of that. I need to be more entrepreneurial. And that's why I switched to real estate mid-career in 2014. I started fixing and flipping homes back then. And that, taught me to just be gritty, to be a hustler. And I ended up taking on some large projects. Today, I just closed on my first apartment syndication, and I think the road to getting here has been hard, has been like super challenging, but the fact that I was able to overcome multiple obstacles to get here just makes me feel much stronger, both emotionally and physically, to be able to take on larger projects and really thrive in this business.
Great. So you said hard, but not impossible, right?
Exactly. It's hard. Anything you take on that you don't know anything about is going to be hard and challenging at first. It's about piecing it out and every day making sure that you have small little wins that lead to massive successes.
So in 2014, when you moved to transition to real estate, who introduced you to real estate, or how did it start, the whole thing? Tell me that.
I honestly, this is such a funny story, but I heard an ad on the radio for a real estate investing company. It was a flipping company that was coming to Seattle for like a 1 hour seminar. And I was like really intrigued because at that point I thought that the only way I could be in real estate was as a real estate agent. I didn't ever think that I could own multiple pieces of property apart from my primary residence. And so this company was talking about all of that. And I was just super shocked that that was even a possibility. And so I ended up going to that seminar. And of course, they were offering a 3-day course, which I jumped into. And then I ended up joining this 6-month program and really understanding what the different kinds of investing was. What is passive income? What is active income? What are apartment syndications? How to build long-term growth and wealth. These were concepts that were just really blowing my mind because I'd never heard of those before. And so I ended up about 4 months after joining this program, I ended up quitting my full-time job that I'd worked so hard to get to and starting my own company and getting my first project under contract.
What steps did you take to form your company initially when you went to this class and you came back? You took a massive action right away.
Right.
So most people lack, you can go to any mastermind program, and if you do not do anything, it's just all waste. But you decided, no, I can do it. I'm going to take a massive action, quit your job. So what was that mindset there, or what exactly you did, or what actions you took?
It was like such a calling for me. I don't know if the timing was not right, if the stars hadn't aligned for some reason. Like I would have very easily sat back and said, I'm not going to do it. I have an amazing job. I get to go to work with people I love every day, and I'm just going to continue to do that. But it was such a calling that I actually got up from my desk one day. I walked over to my boss's office. I sat down and I was like, I'm quitting my job today. And she was shocked. She was like, I did not see this coming at all. So I don't know, like I almost felt possessed to do that. But the first step, like even before I quit my job, I formed my company already, thinking that I could do that more as a side hustle than a full-time gig. But I set up my corporation, I set up all my legal documents, and it was as simple as filing with Washington State and forming a company. I realized soon that there was way more buyers than there were properties available, and so I had to do something different that other people were not. And I started to network with anybody that would take me out to that I could take out to coffee for 5 minutes. So it was escrow agents, it was real estate brokers, it was other investors, it was just anybody that knew anything about real estate that I started to network with. And that's kind of how I built my business, was through that network.
Yeah, and your network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
But
I strongly believe that. Yeah.
You have grown quickly, very fast, So what is the secret sauce there?
I mean, I feel like I've been doing this. I have been doing this for 8 years, so it doesn't feel like it's been fast or overnight. But yes, I basically did my first project. It was such a massive failure in the sense that I didn't make any money, but it was such a massive success just from all the stuff that I was able to accomplish. And then I said, okay, if I can take that experience and actually go generate a profit, then I'm on to something. And I did that for the next 3 projects. I ended up making money. And I was like, wow, now if I streamline this and structure this, then I'm going to make money on every single deal that I buy, which, wasn't the case, but I did make money on 90% of the deals that I bought after that. And I think it's my key strength is finding people that can really help move the needle, like finding people that can bring me good deals, finding people that can reconstruct the way I want, quality plus uh, quickly, for like a nominal price. So just like finding my people and adding those to my team as quickly as possible, getting rid of people that weren't working, I think those are my strengths. And I wouldn't like didn't let anything hold me back. If I saw a problem, instead of waiting for it to solve itself, I attacked it. And I said, okay, let me go solve it. A lot of people that started in real estate or started investing at the same time as me, because we all graduated from this program at the same time. I want to say 95% of my class doesn't do real estate anymore. And I know them, what they did. If someone promised them a contractor, they would wait for that contractor to magically arrive at their doorstep. If someone promised me a contract and I didn't hear from that person in a day or two, then I went out and found my own contractor. I think that's the key difference, is taking matters into your own hand, keeping your mind on the ultimate prize and not stopping for anything until you get to that prize. I think that's the biggest tool in my toolkit.
Talk about your first deal, how you did not make any money, but your enthusiasm was still up, and the deal that you did now. So comparison between the two, how you found your trajectory to success from nothing to like something really big.
Yeah. So that first project, I bought it sight unseen. I was promised a contractor that they didn't deliver, that contractor, by my real estate broker. So, and then I took someone else's word for how much it was going to cost to fix up this house. It was just a simple single family fix and flip. So what happened was, the first day that I walked in the house, I realized that they had said that the rehab budget was $65K. It was more like $120K. And I didn't have a contractor. So I lined up 14 contractors. I took them through this house and came up with one contractor that I really enjoyed working with. And I knew that he was going to take the time to teach me the process, because I did not know anything. I didn't know construction. I didn't know that drywall came after plumbing and electrical and insulation. Like, I did not know anything. And so I just went to the job site every single day and I learned on the job. And I figured out, I figured out the process. I figured out what was needed from me to make any project a success. Now, the loss on this house could have been $100K, and that would have just crushed me and I would have gone back to work right away. But I was able to hustle my way through it and make that a $5,000 loss, by timing the market right, by listing at the right time, by getting multiple offers, by reducing my rehab budget as I could. I was able to mitigate a lot of those losses. And I think that's what gave me the confidence to say, okay, if I can do that on a bad project, but imagine if I actually saw the project before I bought it. Imagine if I already had a contractor to fix up the house before I bought this project, right? Then I could do much better. And so that was kind of my process back then. Today, I have a team of builders, architects, asset managers, underwriters, right? So when I go into a project, I already know what my end goal needs to be, what my rehab plan is going to look like. I have that construction knowledge, that rich, deep construction knowledge that has been built over the years, to say, okay, if there's a leak in the foundation, I know how to fix it. I know who to call. If there's a crack in the pavement, I know how to fix that, So I just have a lot more contractors under my belt. I have a lot more process and systems in place that I am able to go buy a larger apartment building and turn it around for a much better profit than I did on my first single family fix and flip.
Wow, that's great. And that's quite a growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of learning opportunities, and you didn't want to give up. I think that's the grit right there.
Yeah, right. That's the key.
Uh-huh. That's good. So now you just completed your first syndication deal.
Yes.
So talk about that. How did that go?
I started on this process about a year ago. I was like, okay, maybe I should do a fund of funds, and then do a syndication. And the reasoning behind that was I've never raised money from more than one person for a deal. And so I didn't know what that capital raise process was going to look like. I didn't know that people were actually going to invest in me if they said that they would invest. And then I had to learn a whole investor portal. How do you set them up in your portal? How do you work that? How do you create an offering memorandum? How do you underwrite deals? So I was like, okay, to make that whole process simple, I'm going to do a fund of funds for an operator that I truly trust, go through their underwriting process and just learn how they set up a syndication. And that's what I did. So last summer, I did a fund of funds, an SPV, and that worked out great. I really was able to see the whole syndication play out from start to the close of acquisition, and also see how they started to use their CapEx to stabilize the building. And that gave me a good foundation and a basis of what I should do for myself. And then I ended up finding this project off market in a very hot area in Seattle. And we knew that that building was listed for close to 3 million. We got it under contract for 2.4. And so it was a really good deal, even just on the acquisition side of it. And then because value add is my jam, I was like, I do need a distressed building. So we ended up buying a distressed building, and now I'm going to fix it up. So, and now I have a team of underwriters. I have an asset manager. I have a great property manager that I trust that manages all my other units. So I went in with a robust team of people that would work on this project. I think that's the success. That's the key to success, is having a good team in place to manage different tasks that you can't possibly manage on your own.
So you have been working with the creative financing throughout your real estate career, whether it's a residential, the commercial, fix and flip, and now syndication. So can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started, I heard about capital raising and I thought it was absurd. Like, why would someone give you money, not knowing you have a track record or anything? But one of my mentors back then was like a capital raising ninja. Like, he would just go out and raise like 10, 15, 20 million dollars. And this is 8 years ago. And so he kind of made it okay for me to go out and ask money. So what I started to do is I started to find all these amazing off-market deals. And I was like, well, I don't have the money to fix up. Also, Seattle's a very expensive market. So if I just continue to use my own money, I wouldn't be able to scale. I realized the positive impact of using other people's money right away. Mm-hmm. And so I just, I would go to my network and be like, I have this amazing deal. I'll offer you this much of a return on your investment. Like, do you want to invest in my deal as my bridge lender? And oh my God, like every single time I needed money, I needed capital, I would find an investor. And so that's kind of become how I was able to scale so quickly and do as many projects as I've done. Because right now I've done over 55 single family remodels, was by using other people's money. So that was what I did for single family. For my multifamily, I've used other creative solutions. Obviously there's hard money, and I'm on the board of a hard money lending company. And what we do is we finance fix and flip loans and also bridge loans at a pretty nominal cost, especially if you have a lot of experience. You can get some amazing rates. When I first started, hard money cost 12% and 2 points. Now it costs like 7% and maybe a point. So really good rates. And then my most recent project was a whole multifamily syndication where I raised all the equity I needed from 20 different people, not even going on social media because it was a 506B. So just from my own network, I was able to raise quite a bit of money and in quite a short amount of time.
So do you do private lending yourself too now? Are you in that position?
So because I'm such an active investor, I seldom have the funds to go out and private lend, but I have lent in the past. I have lent to other investors in the Seattle market. that needed the money to do fix and flips or whatever it is. Like I was their bridge lender. So it's not like I would never do it, but I do less of it now.
Hmm. So all these investors who are investing with you, those were the like a short-term projects for the rehabs or the flips?
Yeah. So I always take a 1 year loan term just because, anything can happen. You can get red tagged, whatever. So it's always a 1 year loan term, but I'm able to return the capital within 5 to 6 months. And yeah, they're mostly like on a shorter term project because my fix and flips, I get in, fix them quickly, and they sell right away. So it's much shorter.
So basically, when you move to this syndication project now, already had the skill set, for the capital raising, and also, you've been doing a bunch of redevelopment and all that, and the value adds. You had the experience, so it was super easy for you to transition to syndication. But again, I'm going to ask you this question here regarding the capital raising.
Yeah.
The aspiring investors or the aspiring syndicators, it's like a big thing. When they think about capital raising, it's just like butterflies in the stomach right away.
Yeah.
How do I ask people for money? So can you share your process or the skills that you have learned throughout this process?
That's a really good question. And it's funny, no one's asked me that. So good job. So here's the thing. I never thought I was going to capital raise to such a large extent one day. But what I started to do over the course of my real estate career is I actually set up a networking event for local investors in my area. And it was an in-person networking event where people would come, talk about real estate, and mingle and like grow their network. And I did that because I know the importance of having a network. And that's how I was able to raise and grow my business. And I was like, okay, if I can provide a platform for other people to do the same, then I'm going to do it. Then what happened was after COVID, we all went virtual, right? So we started doing Zoom meetings, and my networking event also went virtual. Since COVID, we have now done about 24 networking events because I do them once a month. So I've done about 24 of them, and I invite an amazing guest to interview at these events. But also after that, we go into breakout rooms offering my attendees a platform for networking. And through that, people see the work that I do, which is I don't charge for these meetups or anything. So it's just a way to give back. So once you start to add value to someone's life, the money will come. If they see that, okay, you're doing amazing projects, you're adding value to the community, you have such a big platform that preserving your reputation is more important than actually making money, then it's super easy for people to invest with you. And people have money right now. There's a lot of money. There's actually fewer projects and fewer people doing this, the way we are, than there is money out there. And so raising capital, especially right now, is easy. The first thing you need to do is somehow add value to people's lives.
Very well said, because whatever you need to give that out first to get that back. And a lot of the times, people don't even understand what their strengths are or how they can add value to somebody else. So any suggestions or recommendations there?
Yeah, like I have a 23-year-old on my team. He works at Facebook full time. He's a software engineer, and he was not even part of the team. He just was like hanging out and stepping into all of our meetings because he just wanted to learn. And slowly he started taking on roles. Like he started becoming really good at underwriting properties. He started networking with off-market brokers. He started doing a lot of market economics, so that we know like what areas to buy in. And then also provide like really valuable information to our investors. Like, why should you invest in Seattle? Why should you invest in Raleigh? Why should you invest in different markets? Like, what are some of the hotter markets, right? He started doing all this research, and I like saw that, and I saw something in him, and I was like, I really want you on my team. And so he just became an integral part of the team now. So I think, finding people that complement your skill sets and bringing them on. And they also have to put in the work. They have to show the enthusiasm, that they're willing to be there to come on those calls, to ask good questions, to find solutions and answers. If they can do all that, and that's like the perfect fit for your team. Like he came in and completely took over InvestNext, our investor portal, and basically ran with it. Like he set up the deal room. He, spoke to the investors, kind of already did investor management even before we brought him on. So I feel like if you can find people with complementary skill sets, that's the best way to add them to your team.
You said you have a huge team of the contractors and the brokers and also the lenders and all that.
Property managers, yeah.
Property managers. It takes a lot of effort to build a team like that.
Yeah.
So how did you do it? Did you go through some norming, forming, storming exercise for all of them? Or it just like happened to be you made yourself a magnet and you're just attracting everybody towards you?
I mean, now that you put it that way, I honestly said, okay, I want to do a syndication. And one of the most amazing asset managers that worked at a different syndication company called me randomly, like beginning of last year, and said that he wanted to work with me. And I was like, really? Like, why me? And he was like, look, I've seen you at the networking meetups. I've seen you on social media. I think, you have a great brand. I think we could build something together. And I was just like, whoa, like this is the person I've been missing. Because I don't know anything about syndications and I need someone to steer me in the right path and underwrite my deals and create my cash flow analysis. And he was perfect for all that. And he wanted to join me. And I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And so we started underwriting deals. And I really liked the way that he thought about deals and how, he was able to build relationships with banks. So he was a great asset to have. I just told you about the software engineer that basically took on all of our tech and our underwriting and economic forecasts. My building and construction crew, I have worked with them for 4 years now. So they weren't brand new, but they were someone that I worked with and I understand their skill sets. And so it was easy to just bring them on board to commercial. My property manager is also someone that I worked with in the past. He already does a lot of my property management. So it was just more of an easy transition. So I feel like if you go down a path and you figure out, okay, who do you need next and put it out in the universe that this is what you're doing, you are going to attract these people.
Yeah, you attract the right people, the right energy at the right time.
And they may not be the right person. Like over a period of time, you realize, okay, maybe this is not the right person. But at the same time, if you have the skill set of identifying and hiring, then you can do that again. And until you've actually honed in and found the right person.
That's true. So the syndicator that you currently partner with on the syndication side,
right?
What was the partnership like?
Yeah, so he does bits and pieces. Like he worked on the acquisition on this one. He worked with banks to form relationships and find as a lender, which didn't work out, but he still did put in the work. So he is part of my GP because he is an active investor in the deal and he does work for the deal. So, but he owns about, I want to say 15% of the GP, and I own the rest. So, but he does get a lot of asset management fees off the acquisition. So it's just about finding a way to set it up. I do have really amazing mentors in the space. One of them is Brian Murray, who wrote a book on multifamily investing and apartment syndications or like multifamily investing and how to basically set up all of your team members. So I just called him. I was like, Brian, like, what do you recommend? And he kind of walked me through his process. Another one that has been super successful at syndications is AJ Osborne. He does self-storage, not apartment syndications, but he's another mentor of mine that I go to as my sounding board. So I do have people that have done this successfully time and again that I can call and be like, hey, guide me through this. How do I set this up? How do I make it so that every member of my team wins?
So how did you find these good mentors? Because that's a job in itself, finding a right mentor who you resonate with.
Yeah.
Not necessarily all the mentors are good.
True. I was part of a mastermind that Brandon Turner and Tal Yarber hosted a few years ago. And I ended up meeting some amazing people through that. And now they've become very good friends. And so that's why I use them as mentors. They're not just someone that I picked off the internet. These are people that actually know. I know their background. I know where they came from, how they were able to succeed. So it really helps. But if you don't have that kind of a mastermind or a group, go find one. And if if you don't want to be a part of a mastermind, go to more networking events. I have met some incredible people off of Yona Weiss's networking events or Brian Briscoe's networking events or my own. So I think just putting yourself out in the community will attract people to you.
And finding the right mentor is key as well, because you need to know who you are first of all. Finding yourself first is the first thing in this process. Be authentic, find out who you are, what you want, and accordingly you just look for the mentor, not just like go sign up with anybody and then just expect the magic to happen, that mentor's gonna do everything for you.
Exactly.
Happen.
Exactly. Yeah. And plus these are, really big names in the industry. They're very successful people. So I'm also very mindful of how I use their time. Like I just send them a text and they call me within 3 seconds. So I know not to overuse that. So I truly only like reach out to them when I need something big.
Yeah. And plus you have built that rapport with them, so right. It's like a kind of a give and take relationship. So you might offer them some value or some sort of assistance somewhere, somewhat, whenever it's needed.
Absolutely. Yeah, I offer them plenty. It's always like a give and take, right? So I try to be as valuable to them as they are to me.
I recall that you recently published a book where you were co-author, right?
Yes.
The Only Women in the Room. Can we talk about that a little bit? What's that book about?
Yeah, so it's basically a book that my friend Ashley Wilson authored, and she brought in 20 amazing real estate investors from across the country, actually across the world, to author a book, author a chapter each. And it's bringing together different women from different backgrounds doing different aspects of real estate investing and how they found their place in this industry, being an only woman, being, not looking like the normal average real estate investor, and how they were able to overcome a lot of limiting beliefs to succeed in this industry. So it's a really cool book for anyone that is just starting out, any woman that's having doubts, or any man that has limiting beliefs. Like, this is a great book for that.
Wow. So like breaking the glass ceiling and making your way up. I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. So what inspires you now? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Next 5 to 10 years, I want to be retired in 5. So I can travel the world and like just really enjoy my kids and enjoy all the benefits of having worked so hard over the last 10 years. But in the next 5 years, I want to grow my portfolio as much as I possibly can to be able to then give back to the community. I am big on creating affordable housing. It's a huge need in my market. And so, if I can do that, then that's the goal, really.
One golden nugget for my audience.
Put yourself out there. There is no problem that your network cannot solve. So the more people you meet, the more problems get solved. So network extensively.
This brings us to our rapid fire round. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions and you answer in 1 word or 1 sentence only.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So who was the most influential person in your life?
Oh my God, it has to be my mom.
Nice. Same with me. What is the best book you have read or recommend?
The Only Woman in the Room.
Great. So what is your biggest passion?
Work.
In one word, what does life mean to you?
In one word, I would say
Mhm.
life is beautiful.
Yes, I love that. What is your favorite food?
Indian food.
Oh, I love that too. How can people reach out to you?
I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Instagram. So any of those two channels work for me.